Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? 40 Grit here, 40 Grit Guitars. Hey, tonight's a great night for me, very special for me. I have Chris Justice tonight. Chris and I work together at John Suhr, and I'm just going to go over a couple of things before Chris starts talking because I know you guys have a lot of questions. I got kind of blown up this week on my email and stuff. So Chris is here. Chris was the so in 2000, the late 2011, I got hired by John. Mike Ponce, and Chris was the production manager for the amplifier side of the house, the pedals and the pickups and all that good stuff. And I will just say that um, uh, Chris was a very impressive manager, manages people well. I mean, being in the military for as long as I was, I'm always a stickler for the way people manage, and I enjoyed the way that Chris managed, and him and I had several talks over the workbench because my workbench backed up to the burn-in shelves for the amplifiers. So Chris would be over there burning in amps, and we would just sit there and talk to each other over the shelf. And I just always enjoyed his conversations, and he always helped me out with rewrapping pickups or repotting pickups or whatever it was. But Chris was always there to lend a hand. So tonight I have Chris Justice. He's here to answer any Suhr questions. There's going to be a ton of stuff that I'm going to be answering in particular, but I just wanted to introduce Chris. And Chris, hey, thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate it.
No problem. Pleasure. It'll be fun.
Yeah, cool, man. Chris has a lot of Suhr guitars that I'm sure he's going to want to go through and show you guys the one that why he built them, why in particular he built them. He's got the SL68, the Mark One. You have, sir, correct?
I have the Mark One modded to Mark Two specs.
Modded to Mark II specs.
It was so. There's a whole long story about that, and you let me know when you want to get into that story.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I will first I'll give you the floor. When did you start working for John?
I started, I believe it was May 1st, and it was 2006.
Okay. With the old shop.
That was at the old shop. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I came in at the big shop, but I guess what I should really preface everything with is what is it that you do for a living now that you were doing for a living prior to your time at Suhr, and how is it that you what is it that you do for a living? Because I find it fascinating.
So yeah, I started in the recording industry. I started as a musician, like all of us, right? Want to be a big rock star, and went on the road with a band for a year. And when I got back, I missed my bed and missed normalcy, missed being in one spot. So I decided to go back to college, finish my degree, and I went into recording as a recording engineer and did that from 1998. Actually, before that, I started engineering when I was in school. I went to USC, to their recording school before they got rid of the recording program that I went through, and started engineering in about 96, late 96, and did that all the way up until the time that I started working for John at Suhr in 2006. And I also did production music for TV. So I had my hands in a couple different areas. So, and coincidentally, in 2021, I left Suhr and we moved to Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, and I got back into it. And I did production music for TV off and on my whole time at Suhr. So I kind of never took my feet out of that world, but I did take my feet out of engineering for the most part for, that period of time. I only did a few things here and there.
Okay. Well, now that I've introduced Chris, I'm going to go through and say hello to some people because I'm sure they're going to want to say hello to you. So, Thunder Falcon, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Mikey, always faithful. What's up, 40 Grit? How's it going, bro? Randy Price, Randy Price is a beast on guitar. He's on one of the other channels. He's actually on Ryan's channel, on OU812 channel, and they have a community forum that they get together and jam on. And it's really cool. So, Mikey, glad you're here. Randy, OU812's here. John DeShane has a classic, a Suhr Classic, and he's got a Pete Thorne, and he just bought the SL68 Mark II. So I
It's a
told
great amp.
him that he was here tonight, and we will, you know, I'm sure that we'll discuss. So everybody's saying hello together. Martin Hensley's here. Let's see here. Randy, Internet Money is here.
I
And
love that name. That's awesome.
Internet Money.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so roll call is here, and okay, so let's go to I should have wrote this stuff down because I don't want to, but the first I think the first thing that we should get out of the park, because I spend a lot of time on other websites, and I remember the day that I went in and I had a guitar that somebody wanted John to sign the back of, and I was in there, and I think it was the first time I was in there with him, you know, in the magic glass shop, you know, his glass
Hmm.
he had, and I was standing there. Of course, I was a nervous wreck, so I knew he was going to find stuff because all the guys had told me, "Hey, when you go in there, double check everything. You know, just because he's going to find something. So just double check everything." So I went through, I double triple checked, went in there, and he's sitting there, he's picking it apart, he's looking at it, and he sent me back to my bench for something. I forgot what it was. And then I said to him, "Hey, John, I heard that you saw the Magic Marshall." And he goes, "I did." He said, "Yeah, I got a phone call and I went up to 5150 to check out the Marshall." And he said that it had come back from England messed up. It had been sent overseas, and there was something that had happened overseas, and it came back not right. So, you know, Matt Bruck had given him a call, and I just want you to confirm that when John said to me, he said that there was nothing special inside the Magic Marshall. He said a few caps, a few resistors, but still within spec, and there was nothing really there that. But then take me, seeing that you've been with John for so long. This is a segue. I want you to take me through, because he told me that he took a visual snapshot that day, and that was the SL68.
Yep.
So if you could just take it from there and tell the cool story, because I know you know the story better than I do. So if you could just go with that, that'd be cool.
So yeah, he had gotten the call, and I remember he told me this story, and you know, I've forgotten bits of it because when you work there and you're hearing stories all the time of all this stuff, and especially I guess the bummer is because I was in the industry in a professional capacity in another way and dealt with stars all the time. Like most of this stuff just kind of went in and out one ear for me. Like, cause I don't know, maybe I'm jaded, maybe I got used to it and that, but yeah, Ed had the full value filter cap. It was like a 5,000 picofarad cap, or microfarad picofarad cap. And he also, there was they called it the fat cap. And so that is one of the switches on the SL68 Mark II. That was in the first iteration of the SL68, that cap, he left that fat cap in because it kind of added a little bit more bottom end, and John liked that. And you know, it sounded good. It's one of the things that people liked about that first version of the SL68 is it had a little bit more tightness and but still had some bottom end down there, had kind of a, you know, a little more muscular tone. And that was how the first SL68 was born. I'm trying to remember who he built it for. The very first one, I can't remember. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I remember when we did start building them, the list of celebrity players on that list was pretty cool.
So was it Al Estrada?
I don't recall.
Or did Al just do the demo?
I think Al just did the demo. It wasn't built for like, I don't think it was built for Al. I'm trying to remember who. I honestly can't remember. That's a bummer. I can't remember who originally it kind of ended up becoming kind of getting it to come to fruition. I mean, I know John was super passionate about it because he loved Marshalls and he loved Plexis. So, you know, it could be that he just decided to make one and everything followed. I know Pete Thorne was in that mix too, for sure. I just can't remember if it was specifically built like Pete was the first one or not. I know he got a very early one if he didn't get the first one.
John's saying that Pete had the OG SL68.
Well, he had, yeah. So he had like when we did the big box and everything else, like he had the very first. He did have one of the very first ones. I can't remember if it was the very first one. I can't remember, but yeah, Pete I know was in early on that. Maybe Pete will watch this and chime in. That would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember, but I mean, gosh, I remember John Shanks, you know, who's producing Bon Jovi, and there was just so the list went down and down. You know, obviously there was other stars that played other amps, like that Scott Henderson model.
Yeah.
We'll have to get to that story. I remember building 2 of them for Keith Urban, and then they were in the Nashville flood, and they came back. Like he got them a few weeks before the flood, and they were at sound check, and they got flooded, and we got them back. And I remember John looking at me and going, "You want to fire them up?" And I'm like, "No." No, I'll build 2 more. I don't want to fire them.
You want to fire them up?
Awesome. I think he was partially joking, but he was probably partially curious because, you know, the transformers that we used at Suhr were like stupid high quality, and if they were dried out properly, they might have been able to survive that. I mean, you know, there's weirder things have survived floods. Yeah, so back to the SL68. Yeah, I mean, it just, you know, it went on and on for years. And then so the way the Mark II came about, and if I'm remembering this correctly, I'm pretty sure I know Pete was involved, but I'm pretty sure it was Dweezil Zappa that was kind of like the whole reason. I think he was the first person and the reason why it all kind of needed to happen, because he was doing this thing, this Eddie Tone video series, and John had the idea of putting all of Eddie's specs on switches, so you could switch between like what stock would be and what Eddie's would have been. And so, yeah, Eddie's, somebody did mention in there was a 50K mid pot in Eddie's amp, and that was one of the anomalies instead of a 25K. And, you know, John explained it as the reason being is that at that time, Marshall would just kind of like, they would run out of parts sometimes and they would just use what they had around. And a 50K is just going to let more gain through, you know, in addition to changing the mids a little bit, but it was mostly gain, you know, it kind of translates as gain. And so there was, the 50K mid pot, there was the fat cap, and then there was the bright cap. And that was basically those were the differences. So those are the 3 switches on my version of the Mark II, which is not a Mark II. It was, so Dweezil got one, and then obviously we built one for Pete. And then there were a few employees. I built one for myself because I loved it. And like you were saying, you didn't even know I was an Eddie fan.
Yeah.
For a while.
Hey, I went through.
I'm representing right here.
Oh my God, I went through my entire time at Suhr being the biggest Eddie nut. Everybody making fun of me, and then we leave, and then I start, you know, following your stuff, and I'm like, hold on a second, look at those Eddie Van Halen guitars. What's going on? And then you're just as big of an Eddie fan as I am. That was hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, he's the reason I started playing guitar. He's the reason I'm in the music industry. It's all Eddie. It's, you know, my very first guitar was a red Flying V, not the one behind me, but a cheap one. But the first real guitar I got was a white Kramer. It was an 84 black hockey stick headstock, maple neck, maple fingerboard, white body. So I actually bought one that's extremely close to my first guitar, my first real guitar, because my original Kramer, you know, it was when the 80s ended and the 90s came in, those guitars weren't cool anymore. So I
Mhm.
took the neck off and put a Fender style neck on it and stripped the body and did it translucent green and changed the Floyd out from black to gold and took the pickups out. And yeah, the guitar doesn't exist anymore. It's, you
Mm.
know, I sold the neck and sold this. And yeah, I kick myself now because those, that guitar I had was extremely rare. Come to find out, the maple fingerboard and maple neck, they didn't, it was special order or an artist's guitar at that time, from how I understand it, which be awesome to talk to your buddy that works at Kramer to confirm what I've
Yeah,
been
Robbie.
told.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently that I've only seen one other guitar exactly like that ever. One other
Mm.
Kramer exactly like that. And I tried to buy it off the guy and he wouldn't sell it. And I was offering him pretty stupid money. I was being dumb because, you know,
Yeah.
it's our childhood.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah. Look at it. Yeah, I'm dumb.
I
Exactly.
know. Oh, well,
Exactly.
I got a few dumb guitars we'll go through.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm I'm looking forward to it. Martin wants to know how long were you at Suhr? So you're there from 2006 until 21, right?
Yep. I left May 30th, 2021. So I was there just 15, just over 15 years. Like, you know, 30 days over 15 years.
Okay. Okay. John DeShane says Pete said John built him the prototype at his request.
It could be that
Maybe.
it very well could be. I mean,
That's
it
back
was,
when I remember that demo video of him in his house when he did the demo on the SL68. So I mean
yeah,
that could be.
it
I
could,
didn't
that would actually make a lot of sense. I just can't remember because there were, you know, Peter Frampton, there was so many other people involved in that, like getting that amp and wanting that amp. But yeah, it very well could have been Pete got the prototype. It very well could have been. You know,
well
that was,
speaking of
go ahead.
speaking of Peter Frampton, you know, that was the cool thing about Suhr, because every time somebody came in and they needed a string change or something, Mike brought the guitar to me, because
Yeah.
he knew that Jay and Kenny didn't get the mojo like I got. You know, like I got all like I got all stoked about it. You know, I was like, oh my god. And then I did Peter Frampton's. I did Andy Wood was my regular. Every time Andy came in,
Mhm.
he brought his guitar to my desk. And then James Evanier. Me and
Oh yeah.
James Evanier had a really good relationship. The guy from Australia.
Hmm. James
He
is cool.
that guy's he's just he's just a badass guitar player, man. That guy was just a great player. So yeah,
Totally.
I was super lucky about being able to have stuff brought to me, and Mike was really good at that as far as like bringing me stuff. So let's see. John says either way, it's the best amp he's ever owned and played. Love his SL68 Mark II.
Yeah,
So
it's a ridiculous amp. In fact, I used it. I used it yesterday in my session here, working on a guy's rock record. So we had to do a few overdubs, what we didn't finish at the tracking studio, and we used the SL68 and an old a 1974 50-watt JMP I have down there as well.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I would have
and
liked to
they're
have had that the other day when I did that Randy Rhodes that JMP would have been nice.
and the 4x12 behind the couch mic'd up is a 1979 4x12 with the Marshall branded 65s in it, which is
You were going to send me pics, remember? I was going to put them on.
I could go
You're
take a pic and send it to you.
That's hilarious.
That was owned by Paul Taylor from Winger, and I bought it from another guy named Ryan Spencer Cook in town who plays for Ace Frehley. He put it up for sale, and I saw it go up, and it was only like a half hour later, and I'm like, "Where are you? I'll take it."
Yeah.
And he lives in Brentwood, not far from where I live, because I live south of Nashville. I live outside of town. I don't want to. I live close enough to go in. I don't want to be up all in that mess. We live a little
Yeah,
bit.
we went back there in January, and it's a busy area. How far are you from Carter's?
From Carter's, I'm I'm a little ways. I mean, I'm about 40 minutes south of Nashville.
40
I'm in a
minutes
town.
south.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
in a town called Spring Hill.
Okay.
So we're just south of Franklin. I'm only 9 miles from the first In-N-Out that they just broke ground on. Yes.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Lucky you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Lucky,
So
lucky you guys.
yeah.
Let's see here. Jeff T's in the house. What's up, Jeff T? And then Darren, my buddy Darren. Darren's a big DeMartini fan, so
Nice.
I always pay homage to my DeMartini buddy. So uh let's go through the guitar. So we went through SL68, the Pete Thorne, the custom audio stuff. The Pete Thorne when I first got there, it was all custom audio stuff, and
Correct.
the PT was, and then so we can go through that stuff if you want to. But my first question to you is I don't think I ever asked you this, but what's your favorite pickup of John's? What's your favorite humbucker?
Oh,
You can only pick one.
I can only pick one.
You
If
can
I
only
had
pick
to
one.
live with just one, SSH Plus.
See, me too, man. Like that on the Co 5 SSH Plus is a beast.
And it cleans up so well. So it was originally in this guitar originally had an SSH Plus in it when I built it. Yes, sir.
Covered? It was covered or no?
Covered. Yeah, it had SSH
Okay.
Plus here and an SSV here.
Mm-hmm.
I cycled because this was my number one guitar for it. Honestly, if I had to grab one guitar for a session, I'd probably grab this guitar because it does so much with the 5-way switch, and it's
it looks versatile with the 510 too. So it's versatile. Yeah,
it is. It's a great guitar, and so I cycled through a bunch of pickups in this guitar to kind of learn what they sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
And right now there's an SSH in here, and the only reason I put the SSH Plus back in is because I'm just busy and lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I have so many guitars, it's ridiculous. But yeah, and second would probably be the SSV. It's a really hard choice between that and the Thornbucker. I think only because I'm so used to the SSV and the SSH Plus. I think that's I have Thornbuckers in guitars too, and I love them. But yeah, the SSH Plus is just it's so awesome. There's a funny story. I'm not going to name the person because someone says how much hotter is the SSH Plus over the SSH. So 13K about for the SSH, and the SSH Plus is about 16. But the thing that John taught me is, and is so right, is don't rely on like DC resistance readings and other things, because like the SSH Plus doesn't sound as hot as it is, and it cleans up so well, and it splits really amazing and parallels amazing. That's where that pickup is. To me, its best magic is in the split and the parallel. It makes that pickup crazy versatile.
Well, that makes me want to split mine because I haven't split that, and I stumbled on the SSH Plus by accident one day when I was just building a guitar, and they came down the line, and I was all Doug Aldrich.
Yeah.
And then I was all about the Doug Aldrich pickup, and then when I went to the SSH Plus, I was like, man, this has got a little more. It's a little brighter. It's not as muddy as the Aldrich was for me.
Yeah.
To my ears, I felt like the Aldrich, it gets a little muddy, but the SSH Plus, man. I mean, like, I'm so glad that you said that. That makes me feel good because I never asked you that when I was there. Like, hey, man, what's your favorite pickup?
So,
but I remember I bought an SSH too, and I don't use it. It's in my pickup box down there. I haven't done anything with it.
So did you see John's question? I got to answer this because this is a story I was going to go into. So it might be worth a try in a classic. Yes, because here's the story. I'm not going to name the player because I don't know if they've told this story. And I know at the time it was kind of like, and I'm going to defend them here, rightfully so. They were a little upset because they thought they had a SSV in their guitar. It was an SSH Plus because something happened in the build. It was for an artist,
Mhm.
and they had said, my memory's all correct, and I'm pretty confident it is on this one, but they had always represented the pickup as an SSV in the guitar, and it was an SSH plus.
Mm.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
But they had this. They wanted specifically a vintage output pickup in that guitar, and it was a classic. It was a hum single.
Yeah.
And when that all came unraveled, because the guitar came in one day for a little bit of work, that was discovered. And so, yeah, to John's point, yeah, it's totally worth the try in a classic.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous pickup in a classic. I mean, all of John's pickups really, like,
I think
they're
so
all
too,
so
man.
good. Everything Suhr makes, like
Yep.
so somebody else asked how many guitars I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
a
oh
lot.
no, I didn't
2,
even get
4,
there yet, buddy.
8,
Yeah.
10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. There's 4 more in another room. So 34. But a lot of them are Suhrs. And because I kept buying Suhrs when I worked there. It's because that I just love. I mean, obviously we got an employee discount. That's probably the secret. But they were so easy to play. They sound so good.
Yep.
They're just, and John is like, when he tells that story that he didn't plan on doing this, but he was a frustrated player in terms of playability and quality. That's why they're so good. That's why they're so good.
Yep. I agree. Okay, let me catch up on the chat, and then we're going to go into some other stuff. Either way, it's the best ever. We talked about that. Hey now from Jeff T. What's up, Jeff T? How's it going, bro? Ryan's still here. John, we talked about that. YT1, good day from down under. Was hoping to catch another live stream. Hey, welcome back, man. Appreciate you showing up. I don't know what time it is there, but I appreciate you being here. How many guitars you got? You already answered that. Diamond Dave says, I have 4 Suhrs. Love the SSH Plus and the Aldrich. The SSB in the neck rules. I thought the SSH sounded flat. So I have, my favorite combination is SSH Plus in the bridge and SSV in the neck. So I think that you're on the right track there. Might be worth a try. John DeShane, SSH Plus. You should continue moving forward on the SSH Plus. My other guitars have a Thornbucker Plus or an Alnico 2 Thornbucker. So are all those Thornbuckers Alnico 2s?
So
I think they are.
The neck is a 5. The bridge is a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah, the bridges are 2s, but although did they bring out a version now, a different Thornbucker with a 5 in the bridge or a 4?
I know there's a new one. I think because it's in that new guitar. It's hum single, I think, right?
Yeah.
That new one they got out.
I will look. I can't, because I think one of the new ones they brought out, I want to say, has a different magnet.
John DeShane says no. John DeShane is the Suhr guru on the other channel, so we'll see what. I thought that
you're right.
Yeah, I thought there was a new pickup with that new guitar that he just came out with. Martin Hensley says, "Hey guys, have you seen the new Seymour Duncan rail pickups yet? I have not. Chris, you seen that?
So, which pickups?
The rail pickups, Seymour Duncan rail pickups, the new ones. I'm familiar with the rails. I don't know there was new ones.
Yeah, John is right. The new one is Alnico 2. It just has that part, the ring just around the outside with the middle of the pickup exposed. That's the pickup you're thinking of, and it is Alnico 2. I know we messed with Alnico 4. That's probably what I'm remembering. I know that there were some things that obviously we liked about the Alnico 4 too, but Alnico 4 as well. And so I didn't know if I hadn't followed what the specs were on the Thornbucker 2. So, but yeah, John is right for sure.
TB Plus is a 4. The TB2 is an Alnico 2. So the TB Plus is okay. So a Alnico 4 and Alnico 2. Okay.
There, TB Plus. I thought I'm on the T. Oh, I'm on that. That makes sense. Okay, because I'm on Thornbucker 2. TB Plus. It's not even on the website. Am I missing it? Could be.
Maybe it's only the signature stuff, or
Uh,
maybe it's only the guitar. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that could be. Yeah, because
They
I'm
want
out.
people to buy the guitar, not the pickup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
makes sense to me.
it sounds good if they're making it. It sounds good.
Yeah. Randy Price says Duncan is doing rail versions of their classic stuff like JB Jazz, etc.
Mm,
Okay,
that's
that's
cool.
cool. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now that we talked about the Suhr stuff a little bit, it's time to read the breakout. So probably about what 8 months ago, Chris emailed me and said, "Hey, how far do you live from Mesa?" And I said, "Why?" And I said, "I'm pretty close." And he said, "There's a Ripley there, a black Ripley. I'm thinking about getting it." And I said, "Well, if you'd like me to go get it for you, I will." I said, "But then I started looking at it and I didn't like the logo. The logo was super faded."
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh no, you should go. If I don't go after it, you should go after it." Now I regret not going after it, but let's take a look at your Ripley, bro. Break out your Ripley for everybody, so everybody can check out the Ripley. And then tonight he said, "Hey Mike, it's too bad you don't live closer because I went to break it out for the show tonight, and I think he has a little back bow or something." So he
Yeah.
said it wasn't.
I don't use it a ton because it's obviously a really specialized thing, and I don't really play it much because right now I don't have a lot of available time. But there is the Ripley.
God, man. Yeah, you
So
don't
and it
see those
has
very often. Not
no,
in that condition.
no, and it has the hex distortion unit in it. So that's really rare to have the hex distortion unit in one of these guitars. I talked to Charlene Ripley actually, and she remembers. So the cool thing is this is signed by Steve Ripley,
Oh God.
2006.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
right before
that's
he passed
wow.
away, he signed this. He went through this guitar, and the only thing wrong with it, the only ding, is that I'm trying to get it to focus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's following my face, but there you go. Anyways, yeah, this thing
Yeah.
is super cool. And so yeah, I'm sure all you guys are familiar with what the Ripleys do and how they
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Well, I
Pan
mean, you can go over it. Why don't you go over it a little bit?
well,
And because somebody said, "Oh my God, look at all those pots." So maybe
yeah,
you should explain it real quick.
so I'm gonna hold the bar out of the way here. So there's the hex distortion. I have to look at the diagram because I haven't memorized this, but one is distortion unit blend. I'll have to look it up. I'll pull it up in a minute. But the pan pots are for the strings, and it's low E to high E. So you have a pan pot for each string where you can choose left, right, anywhere in between. And so on Top Jimmy, Eddie had. That's why the strings are when you listen to Top Jimmy and they're bouncing around. It's because he played it
Yeah.
on a Ripley. Obviously,
Yeah,
we
it's
all
cool, man.
I'm sure all your viewers know that,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's just really crazy. And the hex distortion is almost like it's almost like it sounds like kind of like an octave type of like ring modulator distortion. It's really interesting. Um, I could see why it didn't really get talked about because it was kind of odd. It's kind of odd sounding, but it's cool. And I did use it on, I used this guitar right when I got it on a few pieces of production music
Hmm.
um, to do some really weird stuff um, for a sci-fi library.
Hmm.
And so I had like strings panned and had weird effects on the strings on this side and different from that on that side. So it's kind of I need to give it a little tune up and give it some love and get the neck. It went from up in the New York area to here, and so
Hmm.
that's it's a little bit of a weather adjustment. Even though my room is always kind of 72 degrees, 70 to 72 degrees, and the humidity is like just consistent at 45 to 50.
Yep.
Um, Stuff does move occasionally. It happens.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted you to break out the Ripley and show everybody. Everybody's saying, let's see here. Let's see. Holly's in the chat. John said, Jesus, look at all those pots. Uh, oh yeah, when two says one for each string. Yeah, one for each string, John. And then Holly got her appendix taken out. That ain't good. Well, just sit there and watch, and we'll talk about guitar stuff for you, Holly.
Yeah, hope you're feeling better. Ouch.
Okay, so let's go. So we talked about Dweezil Zappa and the new SL68, the Mark II, the pedals. One thing that I always thought was kind of funny with the pedals thing, when I first started working there, the names on the pedals. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority of the pedals were named after your guys' dogs. That's correct, right?
Yeah, so I lost you there for a minute. I lost you after the Dweezil Zappa thing and picked you up right at the dogs, the pedals named after the dogs. So did I miss anything otherwise?
Yeah. No, I just want to confirm that. That was
yes.
I thought that was hilarious when I heard that.
Yeah, so the pedals were named after. So the first pedals, the Sheba Drive and the Cocoa Boost. The Sheba Drive, John had two Shiba Inus. So Sheba Drive was named after the kind of dogs he had. Coco was one of the Shiba Inus. So, and then Koji was the other Shiba Inu. So Koji's the orange compressor. Coco's the boost. There's two different versions. Riot was Josh's dog.
Yeah.
And then Rufus was my dog.
Which was what pedal?
That's the fuzz. So there was
okay.
The fuzz, and then the one with the octave as well, the reloaded version. And then what other pedals were there? There's the Jackrabbit was nobody's dog. That was just the tremolo pedal. It kept an animal name, but I'm trying to remember what other. I have to look at my pile here. I guess that's it. As far as the dog names.
Yeah, I always thought that was and then the new pedal was coming out and they were saying, okay, what are we gonna name this one? And I would hear you guys talking about it, and I was like, that was just freaking hilarious. So okay, so let's talk about like the NAMM show periods. When you guys were when we were going through the NAMM show periods, how far, what was the planning dynamic? What time of year was it when everybody would look at each other and say, okay, we got to get NAMM going? Like how far out from January was it?
Man, it was a while. We would there were some years where we didn't do so great in terms of plant, because we're busy building instruments and take care of orders, and we get really focused, especially after NAMM. We get really focused on ramping up the production on whatever we brought out, and then and filling orders. And also, John would start working on newer stuff and keep tweaking on ideas. But we generally, the most successful years in terms of stress level, mm-hmm. We start talking about it in probably May or June.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking June. Yeah.
Yeah. Really start planning, especially the factory party years, which those were a lot of fun. They were a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was also really nice to do that there and not have the show as big of a priority. So the NAMM show itself. But yeah, June was usually the normal time that we would start talking about it and planning, and I think they had to usually reserve the NAMM booth. I want to say they had to do that. Sometimes I think earlier than that, but I can't remember. I wasn't in charge of that.
I think the year after I left, they went back up to, because the years I was there, John was doing it at the shop.
Yeah, we did it at the shop.
And it was cool. It was really cool.
several years. What did we do? Did we do 3 years? 2 years at
I
the
think it
shop?
was 3.
2 years at the shop and 1 year at the club? Or did we do 3
I
at
didn't do the club.
the club? Okay.
No, I didn't do the club.
I know I mixed a lot of the live recordings. I didn't do it the first year. Pete mixed all the live recordings.
Hmm.
The second year, Don and I split it. And the third year, Don and I split it. I mixed Andy's and James Avaniers, and Don mixed Big Rex.
Oh, well, that takes me back to my Andy Wood. That takes me back to something else I was going to say when we began. So I walked into, I got hired and I went in there and I was, and I thought I wasn't a bad guitar player, but I went in there and I started playing guitar one day, and I went inside the sound booth, the QC booth, and I think I was demoing some or QCing some Riot pedals, and I was just just playing, and then I remember you came in after and started playing, and that was the point when I realized that I probably shouldn't play anymore.
Oh, come on!
I shouldn't play anymore at John Suhr, because everybody. I mean, imagine walking in, 4 walls and thinking you're not a bad guitar player, and then everywhere you look. I mean, it was you, and then what's the guy from Dunlop?
That was David Chavez.
David Chavez. He was a beast. And then I mean, you guys would just go in that QC booth, and I'd be like, okay, I'll never do it again. I'll never go in there and play again. I just won't do it. It's just hilarious. But Chris, I was gonna have Chris plug in and throw out some Andy Wood licks and just throw some stuff out. So if you just want to plug in and throw some Andy Wood licks out, that would be totally cool with me. And
hilarious. Well, do I grab an Andy Wood guitar for this?
I think so.
This is Proto number 2.
Yeah.
Andy has Proto number 1 from the NAMM show, and this is number 2.
Oh, that's awesome.
I bought it off of marketing because I wanted one eventually, and I talked them into selling me the Proto number 2. It just has a regular serial number, and let's see if it's in tune. That's where I should start.
Yeah. And hey, thanks to everybody here tonight. We got over 30 in the chat right now, so appreciate that. Thanks for all you guys being here and showing up. I appreciate it. This was a big one for me to have Chris on. So, and it's good to see him again and stuff, because we met up in StreamYard the other day and chatted for a while, and it was nice to catch up. So I'm glad that he was able to come on, and you guys are in for a treat here in a second, because this guy will light it up.
All right, let's see what we got going on sound wise.
Johnny saying nice.
That loud enough?
Sounds good to me. Turn off the click off the
cancellation. That's right.
Yeah, we've talked about this all week.
Killing me here. All right.
If you click that off, it'll sound a lot better.
Haven't played guitar all day. It's a good day. Let's what if Andy Wood was to plug into an SL68 Mark II?
I'd be fine with that.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be loud. Yeah, this is a great rock.
It's a nice guitar, man. That's a nice guitar. No,
Yeah,
I
it's
remember when they were doing those. I remember when they were. I remember when they started doing those, and I was like, man, I didn't know you got one of those. That's cool.
I kind of I pried it out of their hands because I really wanted one, and working there, I wanted to have a few things that reminded me of like my good times there, and that I'd look at and go, hey, the story behind this is this,
Yeah,
other than just
yeah,
ordering a guitar. So
yep. What pickups in that? John wants to know what's pickups in it.
it's the Andy Wood signature pickups.
Okay, Andy Wood
The
signature.
wood
John.
sheds. Yeah, the wood sheds.
Woodsheds.
Yes, sir.
Martin Hensley said, "Nice guitar, Chris."
Thank
Brooks
you,
gives a
sir.
thumbs up. And those. So back to those NAMM parties. The first one I did uh, was the Pete Thorne and the what is his what's that Big Wreck?
Yeah.
What's
Ian
his
Thornley.
name?
Ian
Ian
Thornley.
Thornley. Dude, he was so cool. He was
He's a
so cool to me.
beast of a player.
Beast.
That guy
Beast. Yeah.
is scary good.
Yeah.
So good.
That
And yeah, such a nice guy.
such a nice guy. And I remember I was at my bench because um Mike said, "Hey, I'm going to need you." I want to say it was like a Saturday. It was like a weekend when we did those. And he said, "I'm going to need you all day." So I was just there like tweaking guitars. And I remember he brought over a guitar and he goes, "Hey, Ian's going to be playing slide tonight, so we gotta make this nut super high because he's going to be playing slide." And I was like, "All right." And I've gone back and watched those videos. And man, when Ian Thornley and Pete Thorne took the stage together, dude, that was
Mm.
magic for those big rec
Yeah.
tunes. I was like, "Oh my god, man!" I mean, that was just those were good shows. I also look at Randy Price says nice chicken picking there, Chris.
Oh, thanks.
Uh,
No warm up, no nothing. I've
yeah,
literally, today's my uh, first day I haven't been in the studio working in probably, I really try not to work Sundays and just relax and watch football, but I've been blazing busy lately. So yeah, today I didn't even come up here until now. So yeah, thanks. No warm up. I appreciate that.
looks like you're going to be plugging back in because John says, "Could you give us a go with the SL68 and an SSH Plus?"
I don't have an SSH Plus in the guitar right now. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Nope, those are all Thornbuckers.
You got to swap out
I have
that.
I have an SSH.
Yeah,
I
he said
have
the
an
SSH was flat.
Well, here, let's see. It can be in certain guitars. I wouldn't. Yeah, to me, I don't think of it as flat, but in some guitars, the SSH Plus where it shines, the SSH could sound maybe a little flat. Let's see if we're in tune here. Suhr guitars are usually always in tune, right?
Yeah.
Can I do the Eddie lick cold?
You want to?
Nope, can't do it. All that stuff. I know I'm not playing it perfect, but I take Joe Satriani's. I can't play Eddie Eddie is. I mean, there's some guys that replicate Eddie really well, but that is I also see a lot of guys miss the simplest things that he did, like the upstroke thing. And I know you know this, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat know this, but it's like a lot of people miss that he used upstrokes a lot too. But yeah, Why all my guitars are telly shaped? No.
Hold on a second. Let me catch up.
That's
Hey,
funny.
Chris, is all your guitars a telly shape?
No, I have
Oh yeah, he's got the Aura.
yeah, there's an Aura.
Oh my God.
That was my going away present.
Oh
Which was yeah, just pretty special. Pretty special.
yeah.
So and then an Epiphone Elitist that has some experimental pickups in it.
Okay.
And not mine. So it's
What number is that Aura?
it is so the serial number. I don't know if you guys can read this.
No, I can't see it.
1959 is what I chose for the serial number. It's not one
cool.
of the 100. It's not one of the 100. So
Yeah.
it's outside of the limited run.
Okay. Is he still doing those? He's not even doing those anymore, is he?
No. Junior.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay.
That's a nice one. Rewound the pickup in that. So and I have two classics.
What's in those? MLs?
So this guitar is MLs and an SSV. It was an SSV when I first built it, had it built.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Thornbucker Plus right now.
Okay.
And I have a Thornbucker, but I also have the original SSV. I will say I don't prefer the Thornbucker Plus over the Thornbucker. I like the Thornbucker better than the Plus in this guitar. So, because I've had all three in it. So that's another project is I want to switch this back to, I'm undecided whether I'm going to do the Thornbucker or the SSV again. But I prefer those two over the Plus, personally.
That's Alder?
This is Alder. Yep. Alder, Rosewood. This guitar is Swamp Ash, Maple Neck, V60 LPs in this guitar.
Okay. And
So
what's the back contour on the neck?
These my normal go-to is vintage C standard.
Okay.
With 810 to 930, wasn't it? I think. This one though, these are both vintage C standards. Is it a standard or medium? I'm forgetting.
I don't remember. If I was going to do another Suhr guitar, you know which one I would do? I would do the Alistrata, the Sparkle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was just a mean guitar, man. I mean, like, and speaking of a beast of a Van Halen guy, Alistrata did it right. I mean, Dave had him.
Yeah.
Dave had him for the tours. So, I mean, Alistrata is one of those guys, man. So
I know. It's just Al is such an incredible player.
He's good, man.
Man, so good.
Yeah.
If I go to the next section on Suhr's website, it's gonna be like a sales pitch for Suhr's.
John says he'd like to have an Aura. Wouldn't everybody, John?
Yeah,
I'd like to have one too.
I'm extremely lucky. But yeah, the tellies I only have 5 tellies, or classic Ts. 2 are regular pickup configuration. One is an alt T. Remember those?
Yeah.
So that's, the F-hole, semi-hollow. The other one I have is unique.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice, man.
So, custom pick guard that I actually made because I wanted to do something different. This was an experiment with the Filtertrons. This guitar, it's fully bound.
What year was that? I remember that.
Man, I can't remember. I want to say probably 2000 and maybe 16. 50. Were you still there at that point?
I remember the Filtron. Yeah, no, I remember those pickups when we were messing with them. So I left in 15.
This is so it was probably 15 or 14. This is roasted alder
Oh
and a
yeah,
roasted neck, and this guitar is, you talk about a silent, like, secret weapon rock machine. This thing
yeah,
sounds ridiculous. I mean, when I have to do like AC/DC ish production music, this
yeah,
is this is on one side because, you know, we all know
yeah.
that that
Sweet
that
guitar.
Gretsch had a Filtertron in it.
That's a sweet guitar, man.
And then yeah, so I have 5 tellies. This is the other one that just has regular. This was my first Suhr I ever bought.
Yeah, that's sharp.
Yeah, I bought this in 2006. So, or 7, maybe
Hmm.
7. These are just the regular standard classic T pickups.
They're asking what your string choice is. Now this is something that, hey, I know what the answer is, but this is something that I wrestled with because remember those limited editions we did, the Drips and the Tigers?
Uh-huh.
And I went over to Mike and I go, I have a question. I go, why are we putting 10 to 46 on these like shredder guitars? It doesn't make any sense. And he goes, you know what? That's a good point. And then he said that he went and talked to the sales guys, and they said they're leaving at 10 to 46. So I'm pretty sure you're a 10 to 46 guy, right?
The only thing I have with 9s on it is that Andy Wood signature telly, because it
Really?
comes that way, and that was not that
Okay.
has 9s on it, and I left it because to get that super, spanky chicken picking stuff, sometimes the
Hmm.
9s help.
Hmm.
It's just a different tone because they do sound different. You know, I
Yeah.
but I have to be very careful when I'm playing it because I'm pretty I play with a pretty strong touch. I
Hmm.
pluck pretty hard when I hybrid pick, and my fretting hand is not. I don't have a light shredder touch. I just never did. It's why I'm not blazing fast. That's why I can't play speed alternate pick and crazy. But and I'm okay with that because I have a phrase for that, which maybe we'll get to later, but um,
Yeah.
maybe not actually. Um, but yeah, 10 to 46, and I use several different brands, believe it or not. Regular Diodarrios are still a pretty good go to for me. I've I like NYXLs on some of my guitars, but I don't like them on others because they definitely feel a little different. The tension feels a little different, and they sound a little different. But my go to string, believe it or not, now, on my important guitars is I actually use String Joys.
You know what? I bought some of those. Those are those custom order ones, or are they just like a you have to order them? They're not really in the
We
stores. I order those ones.
Yeah, they carry them in town because they're made in
Oh, do
Nashville.
they?
They
Okay.
carry them in town in some stores. No, not Guitar Center, but the other shops in town. And you can order from their website. But I I I used to really buy into the, you know string brands. It's kind of like because there really is not a ton of string manufacturers. There's a lot of rebranding that goes on, um, and sometimes I just like, it's just snake oil. Like, set of tens, a set of tens, set of nines, set of nines. And yeah, there's differences, but is it really going to make any difference in my playing?
It's
And
not
I
though.
kind of,
It's not snake oil for me.
it's not totally,
It's not.
but
It's
I
not.
did a long time ago. That's kind of what I bought into. And, obviously when I started working for Suhr, um, and it was probably because I just didn't, I was too focused on making music and, making a career in that. And I just was kind of like, there's so many other things that matter so much more. I'm going to just keep my head in those. And yeah, the strings are all over the map, and it really does matter. I
Yeah.
find.
What about picks? What about picks?
Again, that's all over the map. So I have this is I have a bowl of picks, and
Yeah.
it's
Me
everything
too.
from it's so pro players, they have a go-to, and my go-to is still the Casian type of, you know hawk, red bear type of pick material, right? That sounds like tortoiseshell and feels like
Yeah.
tortoiseshell.
Hmm.
This is my main. I use these the most. But I have, like, for acoustic, I use this blue chip a lot. Or if I'm doing strummy parts, I'll use a really thin 50 pick because they
Hmm.
sound totally different. And
Hmm.
so I'm all over the map when I'm recording parts because the pick is such a huge overlooked part of the tone. Yes, it affects your ability to play until you get used to switching picks a lot, and then it's like you get the muscle memory for them and you develop
Mhm.
that. But picks are a huge component of tone for me for recording for different parts. It just makes a
I'm
really,
sure.
really big difference. Um,
What so sorry to interrupt you, but the but you're so the fishing what are the ones that you do the background for? The for the music you do for. What are you doing for right now?
so I do stuff for NFL on so CBS Sports. And NFL they use it some on NFL on CBS. Golf on CBS is used some. Um, I've done some for a show on History Channel called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. I've done some stuff for that show, but there's one show in particular that I do all of the music for, and it's called Let's Fish, and it's on Bally Sports South, Southwest, and Bally Sports Florida. Um, and so I do all the music for their show. Everything
So cool.
I wrote the theme for their show and do all of the music, and it's a variety of, I mean, it's everything from swampy rock to something that kind of sounds like, Foo Fighters almost a little bit. And it's all instrumental stuff because it's background production music is all instrumental. Um, and then I do some just acoustic stuff that's just background, really simple stuff when they're, telling a story on the boat or something else. It's,
Yeah.
it'll be just something like, something like really, really simple, like, just,
Yeah.
so
That's cool.
yeah, it varies. It totally
Yeah.
varies.
Well, hey, just to throw this out there, my theme song to my live stream, I wrote that sitting one day at about 3 o'clock. I was done with my builds, and I was just sitting there, and I went and saw Cheap Trick. Who's the lead singer for Cheap Trick? What's his name?
Robin Zander.
Robin Zander. I went and saw Robin Zander at one of the wineries the night before, and
That's awesome.
and they played a tune, and I go, man, I've never heard that tune, and I went home and I figured it out, and then the next day I was sitting at work, and I came up with this theme song on my on my podcast, and I've been sitting on that for years. And me and my buddy were talking one day, and he goes, "Have you ever written anything?" And I go, "I've written a couple of things." I said, "But my prized possession is probably this one." And I played it for him. And he goes, "Dude, that's cool. Let's record it." And he goes, "I'll play drums on it." He said, "You play bass, you play guitar, and I'll record it, and I'll play drums." So that's where my theme song came from. I wrote that sitting at John Suhr at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I came up with those chords, and now it's the theme song to my podcast. How
I,
crazy is that?
I like that. I think I remember you mentioning that was your song. It's cool. I mean, it
Yeah.
fits. It's your vibe, man.
It's my vibe. 0812 says, "Is the Aura built to exact Les Paul spec minus the headbox?" So I know that you know the answer, but let me just answer what I know, and then I'm going to give it to you. John built that guitar with all the imperfections of a Les Paul that he didn't like, and he fixed everything that he didn't like. So I'll
Mhm.
give you the floor.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what he did. And I mean, uh, so I'm not a huge. I started on a Fender, on a Strat. So that's that and then a Tele became my thing. Those, I didn't own a Les Paul for, man, probably the first 10 years of my playing. Didn't own one. So, yeah, coming from a non Les Paul player, I will say, even though I own, a few now, um, it's not that much different. It just feels, more refined and feels more, I don't want to say less clunky because I don't think Les Pauls are clunky at all. But I think to anybody that plays Les Pauls, they kind of, it just feels a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, refined is really the only word I can think of that if that makes any sense. It's not like it's sterile or you know too refined, but it just it just feels a little bit, you know, like more professional in terms of when you pick up the guitar to play it, and it just the feel and the balance and everything else. It's, you know, it's just a little bit different. But to somebody that loves Les Pauls, they wouldn't freak out and go, "This feels foreign." They definitely wouldn't think that.
Or yeah, I mean, look at Doug Aldrich.
Yeah, yeah,
Doug
exactly.
Aldrich has one.
Yep,
He's got one. And if you don't know, the Aura is named after John's wife.
correct.
So if you did not know that, that's John's wife's name. Who?
Yeah, and if you were actually go ahead. Sorry.
No. Please go ahead.
If you were if you were pronouncing it right, you actually pronounce her name Auda. It's that you actually, the R is like a D.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but nobody pushed that because, you know, everybody, I think John, you know, he just said, oh, so many, we just go with something that's easier to pronounce, or I can't remember exactly what he had said, but we, you know, so many, I think she has quite a bit of people mispronounce her name because it's spelled Aura, but when you say it, it's actually Auda. The R's rolled so hard it almost sounds like a D.
John Desane says, when you had your guitar, it says, "Sir is pretty." I remember when you brought that Fireburst out, it reminded me of Andy Wood's first signature model. Same color.
Mm-hmm.
A Fireburst. And he had that 510 blocked. And I remember the first time I took that guitar out of the case, I go, a man after my own heart. He likes a blocked bridge. You know,
yep.
He does not like a floating bridge.
Yeah, the gold Suhr Kelly is blocked.
Yeah,
the gold T is blocked.
I can't do floating, man. I rest my hand on it. It really messes me up. The John Desane says, I reset my classic to 9 to 42. Very well, sir. I play 9 to 42 as well. And he said that he can't play fast because he sucks, which he does not. So I don't. Randy says he doesn't have a lighter touch either. Frank Paul says, thought this started at 8. Frank, you're fine. You're good. No problem. So Ryan, OU812's channel, he's got like 3 Steinberger Trantrums.
Oh,
yeah,
I want
he's got 3
one so
of them,
bad.
Yeah,
I want one so
too,
bad.
I know. He's got 3 of them. So, anyways, he's wondering if he could get the Stringjoy Transrum. That's a fair question.
Contact them. They, from what I've heard, they do custom stuff all the time still. So, and that's what I heard. So I would try.
Yeah. I have about 15,000 picks of all different gauges of brass. Buddy, me too. I just don't even know what to do with all of them. I know 10 to 56 is hard work on a Floyd. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, now that's going into my area, because 10 to 56, man, you're adding springs for sure. You're throwing more springs in there, and you are going to work that Floyd a lot harder. So, I don't like heavy gauge strings. And really, from what I understand, the Floyd Rose was built around 10 to 46. So I mean that's based on from what my knowledge is. Martin says my sound is a cross between Southern rock and metal. That's cool, nice, man. Yeah, so you guys have had the time to sit here and listen to Chris, and I was so embarrassed to play after I sat there for a while. I just didn't play anymore. Let's see here.
You should still, you're a good guitar player. You should play.
Oh yeah, I'm not as good as you guys. I just saw someone with a new white trans trem. I'm high on pain pills, so I can't remember who it is. Well, that's cool, no problem. And I like using 9.5s and E standard these days. I've tried those 9.5s, man. I like them. I think they're
so
cool.
do I. Yeah, same. Yeah. I've gone back and forth on a few guitars to 9.5s, especially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say on my Les Pauls, it's the hybrid. Just because I'm so used to playing 9s, I go the treble springs are the 9s, are the 16, 11, and 9. But I'll go the 46 for the hybrid sets on Les Pauls. But I back up to what I've always told everybody when I'm setting up guitars and stuff. Every guitar is different. It's a piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have different springs. You're going to have different adjustments you're going to have to do, because the wood flexes differently. Different woods flex differently. And you're going to have to, that's why setup's so important on a guitar. If you buy a guitar from a manufacturer and you don't spend the time to set it up, you'll never know what that guitar is capable of.
True.
Because they're not spending except for, and I can speak from experience, those John Suhr guitars were playable out of the case.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh,
were they
absolutely.
were they were good to go out of the case, and but that's why Noel was so particular, and that's why Noel had the job that he had with regards. Was he still doing QC when you were there? Is Noel still doing the QC?
Noel
Was
was
he?
doing QC and Seth. Well, they had two QC guys. When I left,
Oh,
it
they
was
had two
two booths.
guys.
Yeah, there was two.
Oh, they
Was
had
there
two
two?
booths.
Was there two booths when
Yeah,
you were there?
yeah, because they brought the guy in from what's that place here in Phoenix, that guitar college, Roberto Venn.
Oh, Richard Mai. Richard. It was Richard Mai, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
brought him in from Roberto Venn,
Yeah.
so he was in the second booth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, I can't believe I remember that nonsense. It's hilarious. Randy says 9 to 46 here at Dunlop Flow. I like the Flow picks, man. I like those. Hey, have you tried those Flow picks, Chris?
hmm Yeah, I
Oh,
got
they're
some around
awesome.
here somewhere.
I love them.
I actually might start making picks. That,
Oh, that's it. Do you remember the NAMM show when they gave out the little tins and they had the Suhr logo on them?
hmm
And they were like those picks that Mike was making. I still have those. I still got a bunch of those. I got a couple of those tins. Mike gave me a couple of.
Like these.
Yeah, that's them right
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I still got them. Those are cool
I'm gonna
picks, man.
I'm gonna start making picks out of this material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's it's called Casein, and
Okay.
some guys are probably gonna some manufacturers are probably gonna flame me for saying that, but it's not hard to find on the internet. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it sounds like old tortoiseshell.
Hmm.
I
Oh
mean, there's
yeah.
several
Yeah.
companies
Okay. Yeah.
making it. Hawk makes them in the UK. That's who James
Hmm.
Avanier uses.
Yeah.
Red Bear here makes them, and Red Bear, they're phenomenal picks. Like they're all hand shaped. You know,
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
stuff is like it's like filing your nails.
Hmm.
But they don't wear, and they have such a different tone. I mean, you can you can hear it. It's a massive difference. But it's also really anybody that likes a stiff pick that doesn't move. This glides off the strings, has less string noise,
Hmm.
and doesn't wear. So
I should break some of those out.
yeah,
Try 'em out.
they're the only minus is they're hygroscopic, so they absorb water. So people that sweat a lot, they will eventually like start cracking, and they'll break. Um, but they're pretty durable, and they do sound. I mean, they sound phenomenal, and there's such a massive difference, especially on acoustic instruments, like guys that
Hmm.
flat pick a lot.
Hmm.
There's a massive difference.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, they're
Let's see. Chris, are you using Pro Tools, OE, Reaper, or something else? Why don't you go through your stuff? What you use when you're recording? Oh, hey, Chris, hold on, and one more thing. Chris
go.
Justice is his YouTube channel. I
Yes,
highly recommend that you guys go to his YouTube channel and check it out because he's got some really cool stuff on there on recording stuff. So it's just Chris Justice on YouTube. I will put this in the description once we end tonight. I'll put ad in there and put
cool.
your YouTube channel on there. So
Yeah, I think it's just at Chris Justice.
yep.
Um, Pro Tools. Yeah, so I actually did a video on this, and for any of y'all that don't use Pro Tools, don't take offense to my video. It was a reaction video to somebody else that was saying Pro Tools is dead when Avid sold. Long story short, but we won't get into that. I use Pro Tools because in the professional world, that's all you see. Nobody's using anything else, and I've never walked into a commercial studio that uses anything different. That said, you guys can make good music on any software. It doesn't matter. It's use what you're comfortable with. It doesn't. It's all the same. If you're not trading files with somebody, or you're not, I'm getting stuff to mix for clients, and I'm, recording bands, and I'm, doing stuff for my own clients and TV and working with songwriters. Everybody is in Pro Tools for the most part, or they're used to spitting it out to send to somebody in Pro Tools, even if they don't work in that, because they know that all the Pro Mix guys and everything else are all, that's what they're working in. So yeah, it's Pro Tools. I have an HD system, but yeah, you can record. Technology nowadays is crazy. But I have a bunch of, I think I can, if I put my head down, I'll see if it, I don't know if it comes down here. I got, outboard gear here. I got a bunch of mic pre's over here. I got all of the normal things you'd see in a studio, a couple Neves, some APIs, the famous compressors you see everywhere. There's plenty of videos showing what I got on YouTube. I actually need to do an updated studio tour because it's changed so much since a guy named Andrew Masters that has a really big studio tour channel on YouTube. He's got 140,000 subs or something. He did a tour of my room right after I moved into this house. And there was a lot of stuff, like the guitars were hung, but the amp racks, I hadn't built all the amp racks. I hadn't built, all this for the amp switcher that I have, and a box that, a brown box that brings the power down. Because Nashville power is, like right now, it's at 126 volts out of the wall. There's days where it's at 128. So I have a few boxes in here to bring stuff down and regulate it. But yeah, there's, my pedal boards down there and stuff everywhere. I got 5 keyboards over.
How many EVH amps do you have?
I only have one. So I only have the original 50-watt white one that I actually bought from Jay Medor.
Jay Medor had a 50-watt EVH for what?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know.
Oh my God, Jay! What? I just talked to him today. He said, "Hey, can you please?" Jay said, "Can you please send me a link so I can watch you guys tonight?" So, Jay, if you're in the chat and you're not commenting, it's cool.
Jay, comment.
Jay, comment. Hey guys, this is the time to ask Chris questions. Our goal is to do 2 hours, so you got about 40 minutes left. Please, the Sir questions, please keep them coming because he's just a wealth of knowledge. I'm lucky to have him here. 9.5 for Darren. He uses 9.5. John says, it's funny. I find my classic much harder to bend the strings than my PT signature. I should check the spring situation. You should, because that's what it is. You're gonna, if you're using the same gauge string, just back off on that claw a little bit, and that's going to give you a little bit more with a little more butter on your bends. Okay, because what I'm thinking is there's probably 3 springs in there, and the claw is probably high. So if you go down to 2 springs on a 510, which was what I like 2 springs on everything, and you back that claw off a little bit. I don't know if it's floating or not, but you can definitely dial that in with 2 springs, and then I think that you will find some better bends there. 9-42 Ernie's, except the 5150s, buddy. I gotta pull them out the other night. Chris, look what I got. I got the OGs. Dude, I still got them.
I want a set.
Just I still got the OGs.
You found, how many sets did you find? I gotta get a set somewhere.
Okay, so here's a problem. Here's a problem I have. I have 1 set with that, and I have like 7 sets of that one. Remember when they changed it?
Yeah, I want to find an original set. It's funny because
that's all I got. I got 1.
When they came out, I used those. Like, I was such an Eddie freak.
Me too.
I don't know if they can see what's hanging back here, but these are the other guitars. Actually, I think I forgot to count these guitars.
I don't think you did. You said you had 4 in another room, and you counted the ones on the walls. So
yeah, maybe. So obviously, I have I have
the EVH.
I have the Frankie, the EVH. I have this 5150 model, which yes is not worn correctly, because I don't know if you guys can see. They painted this guitar twice. When I started to relic it to burn through the layers.
Yeah.
They had painted it twice, and I'm like, crap. And I went through the white layer really quick on the last layer. It was like, obviously something went wrong, and I went, well, this is just going to be if Ed had played it for longer.
Yeah.
And I put a Kramer logo on it. I beat this one up myself. I did all that myself and kind of just
that's cool.
took the glass slide to it and, Went to town.
Glass slide.
Glass
Trade
slide.
secret, glass slide.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
All right. Hey, when I came out here, I turned my buddy Harry onto that. I go, "You guys use glass slides?" And he goes, "No, for what?" And I went down to his shop and I was showing him neck pockets, so with the glass, clean out the neck pockets, and now see, that's a crown jewel right there.
I bought this brand new in '94.
Yeah, that's a crown jewel right there.
I still have the receipt. I paid $1,400 for it.
That's crazy, man.
It's got just a few small dings. I took this on the road like a fool when I was 23,
Yeah,
but I didn't play it a lot. So thankfully, it didn't. It didn't. It just has like a few dings, like 2 dings here from and this is set to not float either, just
yeah,
like
yep.
like it should be. But yeah, this thing, and it's not faded because these were notorious for fading, right?
Well, red
And
didn't fade that bad. The purple ones are the ones that took the hit on the fading,
yeah,
I think.
and black too.
Yeah, black too. Yep.
Because the reason I have the red one is I wanted a green one, and
Yeah, those are tough though. Yeah.
they ordered a green one for me from Guitar Center in West Covina,
Mm,
and it came in. It was black that had faded a
mm,
little bit. I'm like, that's not green, and they had mislabeled it, and so
mm.
there was there was a bunch. There was 5 other ones on the wall, a couple ambers, and a couple reds. Had I known if they had a pink, I would have bought a pink because we all know what those
Mm.
are worth now.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But this was the nicest red one on the wall, and I had already paid for the guitar in full.
yeah,
And they were like, I told the manager, I said, "Well, I'll take the red one." He's like, "Well, that red one's the nicest one on the wall." I'm like, "So
yeah,
they all cost the same?" He's like, and he like wouldn't budge at first, and I was like, "No, I'm not taking no for an answer. I want the red one. I waited for
yeah.
this guitar. I paid in full. Blah blah blah." So long story short, I got it. And so that's the story of this. And then this one I bought from somebody that they'd worked at Fender, and this was the guitar they bought. I think it actually does it have a stamp?
Is that
Can't
a made
remember.
in Japan?
It is a made in Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
those are the good ones.
this is a great guitar. So
Yep.
I kind of wanted to have each era of Eddie. I still have a couple to go because I still need a black and white, and I still need
Hmm.
a Bumblebee, but recording gear takes priority.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a white one and I've got a black one of those. I don't have a tobacco burst made in Japan, but those are great playing guitars.
Yeah, this is somebody else. This is a '94. So
Okay,
yeah,
94. I got to catch up on these questions here.
go for it.
See, John DeShane says 2.0 gloss flows for me. Thanks to Randy. Diamond Dave says thoughts on Dunlop nylon picks. Been to my go-to since I started 30 years ago. Hey, if you've been using it for 30 years, then don't go switching it up. I
Yeah,
play heavy picks, and it's screws up with my timing.
so I will say the thing that would, if you wanted to try a heavy pick and not screw up your timing as much, the the picks we were talking about, this material, because it slides off the string, it helps. My timing is it didn't mess me up as much when I started using those because they just release so easy. They don't drag.
Frank Paz says I have 2 picks made from that. Ben Eller makes them $10
Yep.
each. Ben Eller makes them, really?
I didn't know that, but that's
Is
pretty
that
much
Uncle Ben?
yeah. That would
At,
be Uncle Ben.
Andy Wood's bass player?
Yeah, he might do it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably does it on the side. I mean,
Oh,
because it's
that's
actually
cool.
fun. Yeah,
John
that's
DeShane. Oh yeah, cool, man.
good price for them because that's about what they should. 10 to $15 is where they should cost in my brain. Again, I'm probably gonna piss somebody off by saying that, but sorry, it's just I don't know. I don't.
John said he subbed to your channel. Oh, you 812 said he
Sure.
subbed to your channel.
Thank you.
Frank Paz, Ultimate here myself. Ultimate speakers. Oh, speakers, monitor control. So we talked about that in the beginning, but Chris, you can go over it again.
Monitor controller. I have right now. I use one of the Heritage Audio RAM 2000s. I really like it. It's not super expensive. I think it's like $900. because it has some presets and it has a Bluetooth, so I can literally Bluetooth somebody's phone. They want to play something, I just hit Bluetooth and I can Bluetooth to it, so they can play their idea on my speakers. I have a set of Dyne Audio BM5As, the original ones. I've had them for like 20 something years. And then I have a set of kind of like stupid, you're in the music industry and you mix for a living as part of your job speakers. I have a set of ATC SCM 25s. So yeah, those are not cheap, but they sound amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And I
kind
have
of
another.
seems like anything good is going to cost you something. So
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, there's been a lot of Grammys mixed on the set of speaker, the ATCs. That, yeah, it's just like a guitar. It's like an amp. It's like anything else. And it's when you do it for a living, it's a tool, and you know, you got to have some expensive tools usually, but not every tool has to be expensive. I have some $500 guitars there that I use on a lot of recordings. So Dan Electros and weird stuff.
and then you've got the flip side of that coin. I just heard this the other day. Not all great tools build a great house. So
This is too.
sometimes,
Absolutely.
what I'm
You
saying?
Here's the thing: creativity and ability make up and trump well over expensive tools. Like, somebody that can play, and I'm not talking super speed flash or something else, but can play a cool part. Write a great part, write a great song, and execute it well. And well doesn't necessarily mean perfect sound or anything else. It's the whole package. It's kind of like, we have a joke as engineers, like me and all my buddies. It's like we obsess about, oh man, make the kick a little louder, make this a little louder, make this a little quieter. And it's like, turn around, what do you think? And they like sometimes they'll say, what do you think? I like the song. I like the song. Because none of that stuff, all those little details don't matter. It's like, it's what happens. It's like playing the instrument, right? It's what happens when you play the instrument. It's like, it's the feeling, it's the emotion, it's the connection, and so, yeah, tools help, but they make things easier. It doesn't make it automatically good.
You were in the studio recently with what band? When I'm not sure if you can talk about it, but I know that we were talking about it, and if you please talk about that. So he just engineered. He just
So
got done
I
engineering and
engineered and ended up mixing and mastering the record too. It's a band called Two Wolf, and it is made up of the founding member of Blackfoot, band from the 70s, Southern rock. He was actually in Lynyrd Skynyrd for a year and a half with Ricky Metlock. Him and Ricky left and formed Blackfoot. So it's Greg T. Walker's new band, Two Wolf, and he has Rusty on drums, and then he has Chris Bell on guitar and a guitar player named Lance Lopez. Both Lance and Chris are ridiculous guitar players. Chris is, if anybody sees my Instagram, Chris is the guy that was here yesterday working on his solo record, but I just finished mixing Two Wolf's record that should come out. I'm not exactly sure what their release date is. I know they're still, talking to a few people, but yeah, it's like Southern hard rock. So I know somebody commented earlier that was their jam. They'd like, I think maybe they might have said Southern rock metal, but this would be up their alley. And so they redid some Blackfoot songs. They wrote some new songs. It was a cool record. It was a lot of fun to be involved in.
that's cool. Very cool. Let's see here. Andy sub to, okay, cool. Sub to Chris's channel, was in Nashville last month for the first time. Love that city.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'd have to sell 5 guitars to afford a Suhr. Well, maybe you should consider selling. Don't sell your 5 guitars to get a Suhr. Maybe maybe it'll just happen organically one day, and then you'll just stumble on one.
Yeah.
Okay, so John's floating. So I would take a couple. I would take a spring. See how many springs are in there, and then drop it down to 2, and then refloat it, and then try again there. That's what I'd recommend. Don't have a
Oh,
question, but just wanted to say hi. Thanks for stopping in, sir. Appreciate you being here. Considering a Sir Telly bundle, what should I expect over Lawler and Fender?
hmm. You know, I think. I mean, Lawler. I think every pickup has its place. Personally, I don't think it's just it's some of it's personal preference in my brain too. It's like what do you connect with putting in a guitar? I mean, there's a clarity that usually follows in my experience higher end pickups because there's more care taken in how they're made. Um, but I've had a $500 made in Mexico Strat that kicked the butt of 3 American Strats I owned. And who know? I don't know what it was about that guitar. I don't know if it was the pickups. I don't know if it was the wood. So, I mean, a Sir Telly Bunder or a Lawler, both great choices. Um, you know, if you want Fender pickups, I'd consider leaving what's in the guitar there. Probably. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying Fender doesn't make good stuff, but if you're going to change out the pickups and you're wanting something more, in my opinion, than what's in the guitar than stock, I'd go further down the boutique road. That's an opinion.
Yeah.
Mike, what are
No,
your
I think
thoughts?
that's a good. No, I think that's a great. That's great because I've seen the care put into, and I've seen the R&D with regards to the back and forth. I've seen it, so I've experienced it, and I've seen the R&D on a lot of stuff, and I see the care that goes into it. And you sit there and you go, "See, this is what I wrestle with." Because here, let me just bounce to this. Every time I get on the Suhr Guitar Builder, the standard I build is 5,000 for a hum single Floyd guitar. You know what, Randy? I agree with you, and you and I were just talking about this the other day on Instagram. So, but now I take myself to the flip side of that coin. I've built that guitar. I know the care. I know that when something isn't 100% correct, what happened to that guitar? It went straight
Yeah.
to the bandsaw.
Uh-huh.
Straight to the bandsaw.
It's
Sir does
kind of
not have seconds.
kind of crazy.
And, and like I would sit there and go, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Like there were many of times I saw guitars go to the bandsaw, and I said, well, not many of times, but I know the guitars that went to the bandsaw, there was a drip that came in, and I came in and the case was open and it was sitting on the long bench right outside of QC. Remember they had those two long benches there?
Mm-hmm. Oh
Right
yeah.
before you made the left turn to go to our line. And I walked in and there was a case open and it was a drip. And Larry was there with Mike and they were looking at it. And they were just, it just doesn't, it's not right. It's just not right. And I was like, oh my God, I would take that home right now, you know? But I saw the care, and that's why you pay for what you pay for with the Suhr stuff. Because I also saw the R&D in the pickups. I saw the R&D in the guitars. I saw the amplifiers. I saw many. I can think of two artists that came in working on artist amplifiers that they didn't do. I can think of two, which I'm not going to say, but I can think of two just off the going, okay, so they were, so what happened to that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's just, you have to, when you're paying that kind of money for something, you have to always take the research and develop into, and I saw the care that was taken at Suhr, and I can speak from experience that that was a great place to work, man. I mean, it was just crazy. The QC was crazy there.
It was.
Um, Crazy, but that's John.
Well, and you're
That's
paying that kind of money
you know,
for a guitar. That was or an amp. That's kind of the point. Like if
yeah,
people were paying that kind of money, John wasn't going to let something out the door that was not right or
yeah,
not 100% as good as it could be. It
yeah,
wasn't going to happen. And
yeah,
that's, you get what you pay
yeah,
for, and you want to make sure you got what you paid for.
yeah. What a pleasure. Martin Hensley says Pro Tools is a great tool. I use it with my Line 6 Native.
Yeah.
Are those 9 to 40? They are 9 to 40. Hey, I'm kind of backed up, so I'm gonna keep burning through these. Are those 9 to 40? Yes, they are. The EVH 5150 strings. Ryan says loosen the springs right up to where the two-step bend on the G fret and it starts raising. That's yeah, I think you're onto something there. I'd like to take the bend when I set mine up flush and the bridge just lifts just a little bit, and then I know I'm good with my with where my bridge is going to think. Randy Price says, "Shut up, Ryan. Don't say anything. I'll leave that between you guys." Uh, I'll give you 1,500 for it. They're talking about the Music Man. He said I'll give you 1,500 for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no. Not going
That's funny.
anywhere. It's awesome.
Great show. Got to go. Martin, have a good night, sir. Appreciate it. 12 hundo Canadian right now. Oh, they're still talking about the Music Man, I think.
They are.
Those necks are a laser copy of the 5150 neck, which is my favorite neck. Yeah. Those were CNC to Ed's 5150 neck, from what I understand. The
Same.
asymmetrical,
Yeah.
the asymmetrical neck. Randy says, yeah, the tobacco purse made Japan sold it too. Man, I mean, we need to do a show about the regrets of selling stuff.
Crane Song Avocet, killer.
It would be a long show.
Yep, monitor controller. The Crane Song Avocet. Yeah, those are awesome. Yeah, well, that's superior to what I have for sure. That's like mastering grade. That's awesome. Nice, Frank.
Frank Paws lives a mile and a half away from Edward Van Halen's home, and he's been to 5150.
Nice. Well, I'm jealous.
So he's going to be.
I know the area you live in because I know exactly where Ed's house is. Well, most of us.
Most of us knuckleheads do. Like you said, guitars are a piece of wood. That is 100% correct. You still owe me. You do owe me an email, and we'll be talking about that. But you have worked. But have you worked with Uncle Larry? I don't know what that.
No, no, I've met him, Uncle Larry. So they're talking about Tom Bukovac. Homeschool YouTube channel. You would enjoy it if you
really.
Yeah, he's a big guy in town. He wheels and deals vintage guitars and all kind. He's a character. He's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Does he have a channel or?
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a channel. Yeah, he's got. Yeah, you got to check him out. Yeah, Randy, I wish, but I've met him. He's a cool dude.
I work too much. Holly says, I lived in Nashville for 30 years, been gone 2.5, miss it. It was in Donaldson.
She also said, train, two comments above. That's an old Two Wolf song. Yes, they didn't do train. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I just did, so y'all don't tell anybody.
Oh, see that? John has 3 springs in there. So yeah, I would pull one out and I'd pull one out and reset. That's what I would do. Didn't know you were floating, John. So okay, cool. Tom Weber and Mike Simmons are awesome. Yep, Boasters are floating, Floyd's are blocked. That's cool. Barrett Williams and Uncle Larry.
Yep. She knows.
Mike just emailed you some photos of the 5150 track sheet and my 5150 guitar. Took 4 years to make.
Oh, awesome.
I'll get a broom to sweep up those names.
He dropped a few.
That's all right. Yeah. To me, sir, is a sweet spot for the high-end builder, customer supporters. Hey, so I told you I talked to Don, and I think I'm gonna do something. I think I'm gonna. But see, here's my thing. I know that if I go and I build a guitar with those guys, it's going to be Alistrada's guitar.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that I mean, everything else it's in my book, it's been done. The only thing for me personally is that Alistrada guitar. God, that was a cool guitar. And I remember Mike telling me, and if you don't know what guitar I'm talking about, go check out the SL68 with Alistrada demo, the first SL68, and that sparkle guitar he's got in it. Mike told me that Juan cursed him for days after painting that because it was a pain in the ass to paint because the flake was so thick.
Yeah. Well, and I think it got all the air. It got all in the filters of the paint booth, and flake guitars. the flake guitars cause builders massive issues in the paint booth.
Yeah.
Because it gets into everything and then it contaminates other guitars that are, pretty bursts and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep. Homeschooling.
Homeschooling.
That's
Yep.
Larry's
Yep.
channel. Yeah. That's Tom Bukovac's Uncle Larry's channel.
Homeschooling. I
Yep.
will
That's what
check
it's
that
called.
out.
You'll like it. You'll enjoy it.
So Lincoln Poe, the amphitheater. They're in
Oh,
Nashville.
yeah.
Lincoln Poe.
Larkin Poe.
Larkin Poe?
He just
Okay.
mistyped the end for an R. I think it's their Larkin Poe is the name. That's two girls, but Tyler Bryant is one of them. I think he's married to her. He's an insane guitar player. It's his wife's band.
I went to Grand Ole Opry when I was in Nashville, and they talked about the flood.
Oh yeah,
And the Grand Ole Opry flooded out. I mean, they've got lines on the walls to show you where the flooding went inside that. Inside there, that's just crazy, man.
So, and Soundcheck is and Soundcheck, what we talked about earlier, that flooded where everybody keeps their gear. I mean, Brad Paisley, Keith Urban, Vince Gill, they all lost lots of stuff in that flood. And so Soundcheck is about floor level is about 4 feet off the ground. It's like loading dock height, and it went 6 feet up into the building.
Oh wow!
And
wow.
So, and the bank is probably from what I recall the bank, the normal river level is I think 10 to 15 feet, maybe even 20 feet down the bank. Like the river came up stupid high.
That's crazy. Jimmy Ray Hawkins, thanks for being here, man. He's a regular in most of the guitar places. Mrs. Sirs, he says he's had 6 of them way back when. Noel, there's our guy.
Yep. Noel.
Evangelista can confirm this from the old back in the day original Tone Merchants.
Tone Merchants,
yeah, man. Yeah, Tone Merchants. I remember building for them. Good times, good people, and amazing guitars. Yep. Noel. Because Noel was in sales before he went into QC, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I remember that.
Correct.
Jimmy Ray, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate your comment. Remember when John built the Bumblebee for Al? So that was before my time, but I've seen it.
We don't talk about that one. Oh, boy.
No. Moving right along. Epic Sparkle. See, Starwood, Miss It So. I wish someone would play 316 while I fall asleep. Yeah, long live EVH. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Slash's Blues Band was headlining Third Row. Amazing show. Lance
was at that show for Two Wolf. He didn't play.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did Frank see it at First Bank Amphitheater? That's right by my house. It's like 10 miles from me. That's it's a cool outdoor venue here. That's where Slash played. I don't think he did another date in town. I think that was the only venue, but I could be wrong. Somebody could. Yeah. Frank says yes. Yeah. First Bank's awesome. That's a great place to see a show.
Bukovac was awesome. Met him in Rumble Seat Music back in 2014. He was there wheeling and dealing with Elliot over an old White Guard telly.
That sounds like Tom. Yeah, Holly was there.
Holly was there for the Great Flood of 2010.
Holly, am I remembering right that river level's usually 20 feet below down the bank of where it came up into that area? I think that's about right, but she might remember.
Yeah, that's man. I was shocked where the Grand Ole Opry was, like right by the mall. Like I was like, this is the most odd place for the Grand Ole Opry, but that's the Grand Ole Opry that I grew up with. I mean, like when I was watching it as a kid, that's where they filmed it.
The original's downtown, but that they retired that long ago. It's been. I went to a Dove Awards at the place you went to back in 1994 or 95 when I was touring with that band. I can't remember. I'm going to pull up a photo while you go through these. I'll break your brain.
Might have been 2016. I don't remember. John DeShane says, thoughts on the Cocoa Boost Reloaded. Was thinking of getting one. See, these are the questions I was waiting for. Thoughts on the Cocoa Boost Reloaded. Was thinking of getting one to kick the front end of the SL. Maybe try the SSH Plus first.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cocoa Boost Reloaded. Yeah, the advantage, the only advantage or disadvantage of one over the other is the regular Cocoa Boost. You have a separate mid switch, so you can toggle between the two. But that said, actually, the Reloaded, there was a separate level, so the Reloaded would be a better choice.
Okay.
You have more flexibility. It's a smaller box. Yeah, it's a great push and tone shaping box. It's excellent.
But I would definitely recommend to John to try the SSH Plus because he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's got to
Yeah.
jump on one of those pickups and try it out. Just
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
Frank said yes to your question, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, I recall the instrument storage getting flooded. Remember, they let out the dam and shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Opryland
Yeah,
was
I remember
bad. I
hearing
had a
about
few friends who worked there.
Yeah, it's sad.
Ollie says, I don't know about Suhr that much other than they are great guitars. They do make great guitars.
Yeah.
They got some good stuff over there. What picture are you picking out? Guys, remember if you have any questions or if I'm going to put Chris's information in the bio or in the description of the video once we get done here. Please go and subscribe to his channel.
That
He's a
would be
very
awesome.
talented musician and engineer out there in Nashville, and I'm lucky to have him tonight. So, what
And
picture are you looking for?
yeah, I was looking for a picture of me playing one of Keith Urban's guitars that we recovered from the flood and made work again.
Oh, no
It was
kidding.
an old Pensa Sur, and
Oh,
so
wow.
John had me take it and play test it when he was done with it. He's like,
Oh,
"Go make
really?
sure it plays good." I'm like, okay. I can't find it. I can't remember what year. I want to say 18 or 19 because I don't think it was right away, but I'll dig for it as we go, kind of casually, but
The let's see, what else was I gonna bump off you? I don't know. Let me check. We got some more questions. So here, but
yeah.
yeah, email me if you have any questions, and hit me up, and I'm gonna put like I said, I'm gonna put Chris's stuff in there. Keith was just on Beato talking about the flood not long ago. I didn't hear about that, so that'll be
I saw that episode. That was really good. In fact, that's where I stole the comment, where I got the idea to say, I like the song, because that's actually Keith's story. Is he says he's always fiddling with stuff. He's never happy with the mix, never happy with stuff, and
hmm,
that he turns around and looks at his engineer, and the engineer goes, "Yeah, I like the song."
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I heard it and I started using it because I'm like, that's brilliant.
I'm
But
glad
yes,
that this question came up because the Beato they just dropped the Dweezil today.
did they?
Yeah, he
Oh,
just dropped the Dweezil interview today, so I've been waiting for that one. So I'll be looking forward to watching that whenever I got some time. Got to see Opryland when coming back from the Corvette plant. The Corvette plant's in Nashville.
uh, oh,
You know
uh,
there?
no, there's a Corvette plant in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where
Oh, okay.
by the museum. So not far from. I mean, that's only an hour and change above Nashville. Not far. That's a cool place. Corvette Museum is awesome. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, you're correct, Holly. It's all about the song. So the perfect photo about the mix is never finished. M sent Mike. Yeah, well, you're probably right about that. One thing that I did notice that um, since I left was John's back on the floor, and
Yeah,
I wish that John would have been on the floor when I was there because John's at my bench,
yeah,
isn't he?
he is at your old bench, and he
Yeah,
was. Yeah, he came back on the floor. Was probably like heavily, because he was always out poking around doing stuff.
yeah,
But he
for
came
sure
out
he was.
heavily. I'm trying to remember what year. I kind of want to say I think what spawned it was the auras or auras, aura,
Yeah,
however you want to say it. Um,
yeah,
I say auda because I just do, but
yeah.
um, yeah, that was I think what spawned it. That was kind of because those were done by him. Like that was his
Yeah,
baby.
the frets were every fret job was done by him, I think, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
It is, and they are
That's freaking
so good.
cool.
They're
So
so
cool.
good.
Well, here we go. Here, let's see here. Here we go with questions. Chris, have you ever been to the EVH store mural at Blackbird?
Yes.
What is that?
There's a door that's got a mural. It's and I'm trying to remember. I walked by it. I didn't really stop and look at it, but I can't. Where is it inside of Blackbird too? Because I can't remember. Because that place is a maze. There's Blackbird is one of the big studios in Berry Hill, and
Hmm.
it's a maze. But yeah, there's a cool little memorial thing in there for him.
How many amps do Sir John? Where have these questions been? Chris has 8 minutes left. How many
No,
amps does
I
Sir
could stay a
typically
little.
build in a year?
Could stay a little longer. It's fine. It varied. It depended upon year, and it depended on what sales were heaviest because, like, for instance, a Badger was a lot quicker than a hand wired amp. And even though we had, I had one person that pretty much built all the hand wired stuff because it's a much different beast than, a PC board based amp. So it's hard to say a specific number because every year it varied so much. It just depended on what was being built and what the order load, like how heavy it was. Because like the Ombre, the brown face Fender amp that it's inspired by amp that he has out, those builds were much quicker. A PT100 was a pretty involved build, so it varied. That's hard to answer.
Mm.
Not trying to be ambiguous. It's just hard to answer.
No. Remember, so I was going somewhere with the NAMM show talk. Remember the year we did the Mastodon
Yes.
nut?
Yes.
Buddy, guess who cut the Mastodon nut?
You. Or is it
And I
Mike?
remember sitting there, no, it was me because
Yeah.
Mike brought it to me. And he goes, hey, I need you to cut this nut. Like, okay, cool. And I'm sitting there and I'm just hogging on it with my nut files. It's not doing anything. And I'm going, what is this, man? And he goes, oh, it's a Mastodon tusk. And I was like, oh my God, man. That thing took me forever. But that was a beautiful guitar. What was that? What's that overseas that bought all the guitars from us? They bought that guitar. The Japanese
Okada.
Okada, yep, Okada. Okada bought that guitar, and I was like, "Oh my,
yeah.
that was a beautiful guitar."
Okada owns some.
Guitar.
They bought some interesting stuff. They had
yeah.
They could sell the guitar market over there is nuts.
See, what is the okay? Hold on a second. Oh, and then I just want you to confirm that I confirmed that. Remember when Aldrich asked me to be his guitar tech? And I was crapped out for a week,
yes.
and Mike kept coming up and punching
yes.
me. Hey,
yes.
Snap out of it, man! You don't want to be
happened.
a guitar tech. And I was like, That
happened. That's truth.
Travis was standing next to me, and he goes, "Oh my God!" Like when Doug asked me, and I was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" And Nathan was graduating from high school. I go, "I can't, bro." And he goes, "Oh no, it'll be all right." But I remember Mike walked by my bench for a week, going, "You don't want to be a guitar tech, man. You're better off here building guitars." I was like, "All right, man, whatever." He said that he did. John, let's see. Hold on a second. I'm missing it here. Zims is doing well. I haven't been to Zims Guitars. Is a shop out here, Chris. It's an old school mom and pop, and it's awesome. The studio in the house with the Nev 88. Do you know what that's about?
Eve 88 console. Yeah, nice. That's awesome. I'm fully jealous.
I don't know anything about this stuff.
Great vintage recording console. Just, great console.
Jimmy Ray says, sent me an old figure. Yeah, thank you for the pictures. I will go through everything tonight. I'll do my best. I got to work again tomorrow. Thank you, Holly. Very nice. I saw another Sir question about what is the process. Striping. Hold on a second. Striped the door outside mural in the background. My carpenter was right there. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
John said that he didn't want to monopolize the chat. It's okay, no problem. Any good pranks pulled on fellow Suhr workers at Suhr?
No comment.
No.
No comment.
There was nothing more fun than when Scotty would start to play
Oh yeah.
and sing, and it was just yeah. I mean, we had a good time there, man. We had fun.
He may have gotten his guitar cord cut a few times, but there was some, there was probably, I think there might have been a few tools super glued to benches and some other stuff, but there's a few pranks that I probably won't speak of.
John says, "What's the build process for the 68s?" I've seen the process on that, and I know that they're 100% hand wired. And I knew the guy that did it, so
Yep.
you can go.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say. Their build quality is ridiculous on those.
Ridiculous.
You can, I mean, they had fallen off of racks, and we had accidents occasionally with something, and obviously it wouldn't go out the door again. But I remember one time an amp fell off the top of a rack, and it still worked like flawlessly, and it was not even in a head shell.
I actually saw Dave Friedman talking about boards the other day, and he said that that a board was just more reliable.
Yeah.
And I I still wrestle with that because I saw the process at Suhr, and I don't know if that's a fact with maybe for different amplifiers, but I don't think for John's amplifiers.
I think what part of what he's speaking to, I think, and I'm assuming, but I know, having talked to Dave, a few times over the years too, and I know John felt this way. That the thing with PC boards they're either made by Friedman or Suhr has made, they're like super thick. They're not like a PC board in a Fender amp or something else. They're super thick traces, and they're very resilient to being reworked and other things. And they're the things that one of the reasons it's more reliable than a hand wired amp is, the biggest thing I can think of that comes to mind is noise floor, because when you move wires around inside of an old Marshall, things will start to oscillate. So with a board, it's like the ground wires can be run in a specific way every single time. Stuff is very, very, very repeatable. And so it's more consistent, and it's, I think that's probably part of what Dave is speaking to. I'm assuming a little bit, but he builds great stuff, and it's not going to be really any much different. I know him and John had talked about stuff like that. So,
worst experience working for Suhr. I wouldn't say that there was a. I don't think I ever. I don't think I. I think with any job, there's going to be bad experiences with everything. But I will tell you, for the time that I was there, I walked in there every day going, man, somebody pinch me, because I get to sit here and work on guitars all day long, and play guitars, and I would push back in my chair and bang into Jay and torment him for a little while. And
yep.
I mean, we had so much. I mean, I had fun. I think I got on Jay's nerves sometimes, but it was fun tormenting Jay at sometimes. But I did apologize for that when I saw him in Nashville, though. So, Holly said that she's dozing off. She's kicking in. Haven't had a pain pill in 25 years. Oh, she'll shut up now. Just love all you guys. I miss you. We miss you too. And take care of yourself. John Deshain says he ordered his SL68. Took approximately 4 months to get, which I think is that's a good time frame in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a decent time frame. I mean, I could think of a time when we were building them where it was longer than 4 months.
Yeah. What's the build time on guitars right now? I would think it's at least a year, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah. You've been gone for a minute too.
So far out of that loop. I've been, I left in 2021.
Yeah. John Deshain sounds glorious with his amp. Yeah, that's a great amp. One last thing, Chris, you are awesome. Thank you for being on the show. Nice to meet you. Holly says.
Thank you.
Frank Paw says Dweezil's house. I'm looking forward to seeing that Dweezil interview. That's going to be a good one. The stuff Jason Davis and I did at Defender Custom Shop was crazy. Total HR violations. Fired on the day. Sure. Hey, you know what's funny about that? I wonder if Jimmy Ray knows Scotty.
Probably.
Because Scotty was Fender Custom Shop, and so was Ponce. And so was John and Kenny.
Yeah.
And Jay. I mean, they were all there.
Yep.
I'm sure Jimmy Ray probably knows all those guys. So the amp was totally worth the wait. Shoot, man, 4 months in my opinion is a win.
Yes, sir.
That's a win at for Suhr. Fun is better than dreading. Oh, I didn't dread going to work. I never dreaded going to work there. Ever. I had a BE 100 Deluxe grade amp, but too much for me. Was considering the Friedman Plex, but went with the 68 because of the 100 watt fact. Hand built for the name.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think that. I mean, you guys are looking at the guy that was John's right hand man for all those amplifiers. Chris was the guy that was running around making sure things were happening. So
I did my best.
Was thinking, yeah, no, you did great. Was thinking of ordering an Andy Wood Telly. My rep told me 2 years. Huh?
Ouch.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Maybe.
It could be.
I was thinking at least a year. I've got a body that a guy's working on here. It's been it'll be 2 years in January. I mean, just for a body. It's like, I don't, but I know that everybody's busy. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe he knows all of them.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
That's cool, man. No, that's cool, man.
That's awesome.
Well, shoot. We know the same people. Great group of people, much better than me. Scott Grant. Yeah, man. Scott Grant. Scotty.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Scotty was on the line with me. Scotty was on Jay's line. I had Zach Cohen.
16 months on the PT Sig. Ouch.
Really? On the
Interesting.
On the Pete Thorne, right? The 100 watt?
No, I think he's talking about the guitar. Because
for the guitar?
Guitar, yeah. Yeah, because amps were never like our back order never approached.
PT Signature, can't you just buy those in the store?
Well, you could, if you find a dealer that has one in stock, you could.
16 months, man. That's rich.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe they're back. Sweetwater's showing mid-2025 there. Okay, see, well, you know why that could be is because that's the first slot Sweetwater could get, because other dealers might have them on order, and the production schedule could be full of certain types. I mean, I don't know if they're doing it the same way that they were when I was there or when you were there, Mike. I would assume they probably are. It might be mostly because Sweetwater's a new dealer.
That's what I was thinking, because John just went there and did the thing with,
they just became.
I think that's what it is.
A Suhr dealer.
Yep, I think you're right. I think that's what it is. Hold on a second. Favorite headstock tuner that responds well. I got to be honest. I like that. Where's mine at? I've got that Snark doesn't do bad for me. I got no complaints about that Snark. I've got the Peterson, the Strobo clip.
Where's mine? Oh, mine's back here. Mine's on this stupid rubber bridge guitar that never stays in tune. Freaking rubber bridge, Phoebe Bridgers, Nashville junk. I have a little Diodario one.
How's that?
It's decent. Pro tip, take it off your acoustic before you're recording with a microphone. I chased a noise in the studio a couple weeks back, like 10 minutes. I had this intermittent distortion, and it was the tuner rattling on the headstock.
No kidding.
I went through all the my patches and the mic pre and this. I was working on an old Trident console, and I'm like, crap, maybe it's the console, because it's an older console. And finally, I'm like, I'm going to come out and listen to your guitar in the room, because then I was like, was it a mic? because I was using a set of I have these old 1970s vintage AKG microphones that I use for acoustic, and I take them with me to that studio because they don't have a pair. And I went out there and I'm listening around, and all of a sudden I listen up near the headstock, and I'm like, and I take the tuner off and the noise goes away, and I'm like, and I put it back on, and there's the noise there again. When he hit the A string, open A string, I was like, son of a...
You know, that happened to me the other day. I pulled that Kramer, that 1986 Kramer out to shoot a video. And I just picked it up, and it was like on the 12th fret, and I hit the G string, and I was just like kind of bending on it and plucking it. And it's going, there's like a moan coming from it. And I go, what is that? So I started shaking the guitar, and there's something rattling. It was the washer on the tuner. Tuner came loose, and the washer's sitting there floating around. That's why I always tell you guys, when you're setting your guitars up, start the headstock down, tighten everything up, because those always come loose. Those freaking washers always come loose. 40 Grid, take a look at the pic I will send the Era from. I bet you it's going to be the Era with Ponce, all those ones they had with that Mike used to always show me. Not the new one. Oh, he's in Canada. That's why. Not the new one. I bet you that's what it is.
Yeah.
John's in Canada land. That's right. That makes sense now. That makes sense now. I have a sequential pair of 70s 451s, white, copper coils, great on toms and tweeds, darker.
Yeah. So the ones I have, I actually have 4 of these. Yeah, they're these. I don't know if it's focusing. Probably not. Hold it next to my face. But yeah, they're C451Es. These are awesome. So yeah, that makes sense though. Toms too. Yeah, of course. Just like a Neumann KM84 is great on toms too.
That just reminds me of the first time I cranked my SL. Sounded like Morse code was coming through the speakers. Turns out my cell phone. Exactly. I've had that happen before too. Yep. Exactly. Typing one-handed is Teddy Van Halen. The Pug is on my... Oh, cool, man. Nice. Nice. Well, we are at 2 hours and 8 minutes, Chris. I think I'm going to wrap it up. You cool with that?
Lost you guys.
Hey, thank
you. Here.
You back? You back?
You there now?
You there? I'm there. Can you hear me? You there?
Oh, there I am. Yeah, I lost cool. my headphones came unplugged. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks to everybody for being in the chat. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. I got to work tomorrow, but I will be having Chris on again. We were talking about it in the green room. Chris will be on again, and hope you know. So keep track, and you guys can hit him up on his channel. I will put your information in there, and please subscribe to his channel. He's got some really cool stuff, and please check him out. Subscribe to his channel, and I thank you all for being here tonight. Let's see. We have Tim Thomas says hello. John DeShane says been a great show. Thanks for all the chats. And Frank Paw says to check my email, which I will do once I'm off the show. So if you guys have any questions on anything, please email me direct at dtuner5150@gmail.com. And I get back to all of my peeps that email me any questions on guitar stuff. I'd be more than happy to help you out. And that's all I got. Chris, any closing thoughts, any closing comments, anything you want to?
No, this was fun. Let's do it again. And you know, if they want to see, I need to work on my channel, but yeah, I got a ton of different ideas of things I'm going to do, and you know, drop comments and let me know what you want to see too. So
cool. All right. Of course we're plugging back up again here. This is what happens every show.
That's fine.
So here, great show. Thanks, Browns fan. Appreciate you being here. Good stuff. Great to see everyone in their shares. See here. Thanks, Chris. Frank Paul says, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for another great one. No problem, man. My pleasure. I appreciate you guys being here. Awesome show, Mike and Chris. Looking forward to the next one. Randy Price, thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate it. Darren, my DeMartini buddy, I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to be doing that brown build that you requested. I'm going to be pulling that one out, and I'll do a walk around on that one, and we'll check that one out. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Chris, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. See you guys.
And see you guys on the next one.